Welcome to another episode of our Quantum Economy Talks. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that we have titled Business as Unusual. And if you look into the future of the economy, the business that we'll be doing will be different than it is today. The narrative of today is about modernism, about optimization, and trying to navigate within the planetary boundaries. But what if we could build and create technologies and use exponential technology to tackle some of the pressing challenges and also look at those beyond what we perceive today as our boundaries? And I'm happy to have Florian back with me, Silicon Valley, in San Francisco this morning. You're out, right?
Yes, it's great to be here again. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm in Barcelona today, and we'll be talking about quantum tech here, and it's been a wonderful discussion, and there's a lot happening in the field. So, Flora, maybe you can start off by kind of sort of addressing the topic a little bit more for the people that are not familiar with the potentials beyond what we read in the media about quantum computing. Talk a little bit about what you're working on and what the field of the products and the service of tomorrow is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, so quantum computing specifically has been in the news a lot lately, not without reason. It's because there are so many potential use cases, scenarios where it can become useful, where we can apply that technology to solve problems that have been unsolved for sometimes decades, really. So if we think about quantum technologies more broadly, there is more than quantum computing. So depending on how you structure it, we at Terra Quantum structure it in quantum computing, in quantum sensing, so improved sensory technology that allows you to see things that regular sensors cannot see. Then there is quantum cryptography and post-quantum cryptography, where we are very much concerned with securing communication, securing IT infrastructure, securing data storage, which is also a problem in the context of quantum computing, since these computers are in certain areas much more powerful than all the other computers that we use and pose a threat for encryption. And then there is imaging. So when we make visible things that you cannot see with regular imaging devices that we're using. So these are basically the four pillars that everyone is active in and talking about when it comes to quantum technology. And interestingly, most of these technologies, they come to fruition now. So over the last decades, there's been so much research happening, so theoretical work on how we can bring these technologies to the market, and now is the time. Quantum computing specifically, so you already mentioned it briefly, that is a technology that is very prominent and broadly used. So here we see things from developing personalized medicine, drug design, up to solving very complex optimization problems in traffic, in logistics, supply chain, satellite navigation, machine learning problems. So quantum computing will and is already empowering artificial intelligence, so make these systems much more powerful in how they learn and how they make decisions. So these are all positive things that we can do, and where these technologies will have a strong impact.
Yeah, when you say we can do, right? I mean, we look at the quantum economy, we look at much more than quantum technologies. We look at exponential technologies in a much broader sense. And what we will try to do is also to switch the narrative only from being a technological perspective, but to also include the philosophy and also the human beings that are a part of the quantum space. We are also quantum mechanical entities, and we are most likely, if we believe that this is real, not to 100% predictable. So this makes this whole soup a bit challenging. So, I mean, if you would look at one problem for our society today, one big problem that we have defined, we have a good understanding that it is a problem, and you would say that if we could switch it from trying to limit it and regulate and just to look at the opportunities where you have a huge upside on a business value, you can make money, and you will also tackle one of the pressing challenges. Do you have like one favorite scenario that is at the top of your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So I generally say one of the fields that I favor most is all medicine, because there we would have a direct impact on humans and improve lives of humans. So one thing that is very, very prominent in quantum computing, that is the simulation of molecules. So if you can do that quantum mechanically using a quantum computer, so basically using one quantum system that already exhibits all these complex behaviors that we see in the quantum physical world, to simulate another quantum system, the molecule, then you can personalize drug treatment. You can design drugs for basically any disease that you can understand. So imagine you can design a drug and quantum mechanically simulate how it affects a protein in your body. These are things that we cannot do today with the computers that we use in our everyday lives, and that's huge. So basically, what happens in the world is, and I'm not a pharmacologist, but what happens in the world is that by experiment we find drugs, and then if someone suffers from a disease, if a big group of people suffers from the same disease, we all treat them basically the same way. But this will allow us to do personalized medicine based on someone's body and how someone's individual body works, and that is huge. So that will help us to cure anything if we do it right. And then, if we look a little further into another direction, one thing that's also interesting and that we have been working on is treatments, or we combine existing technologies with quantum computers, such as lasers. So, one way to cure, for example, arthritis is by using lasers to induce structured cracking in the calcifications between your joints and then get rid of the calcifications completely. But how do you do that? So you introduce a laser, and then you have these complex parameter set that you have to optimize as the patient is being treated. And that can be done using quantum computers, a hybrid quantum algorithm in that case. And that is very, very exciting.
How far are we off? I mean, you say if we could, right? I mean, basically, the challenge of building a stable quantum computer. If you could just elaborate a little bit, where are we on that? And also, I would like to get a bit more understanding on the hybrid solution. So
Yes.
are we like kind of sort of in a market where you can use quantum technology to apply use cases, or are we short in front of a breakthrough? If you could just give a short update on that.
Yeah, there's always more breakthroughs that we can achieve, but we are ready today to use these technologies. It just depends on how you use it. So you gotta use it the right way. If you you mentioned hybrid, I mentioned hybrid already. So this is, in terms of quantum computing, the right way to use that technology, not only today but also in the future. Hybrid means we take the existing computing infrastructure that we have, the high performance computers that we're used to using, the cloud systems that we have with all the graphical processing units and other processing units, and that, in the right way, we combine with quantum computing. So instead of seeing quantum computing as the new paradigm in computing that will make all other computing obsolete, we combine it in an efficient way. It's a different way of computing power that is suitable for different kinds of sub problems or problems. And if we combine it the right way, then we can solve these problems today already, such as the optimization of these laser parameters with a hybrid algorithm can be done today. Logistics can be done today. So optimization problems, machine learning problems with hybrid algorithms, all possible today. But of course, as these systems mature, as quantum computers mature, they're not as good as we want them to be yet. As these mature, these use cases and solutions will become much more powerful in the future.
But isn't it also? I mean, if you want to run these business use cases, it's not about computation, about computing capabilities. It's also about a front end, an application, an interface that you could prompt or run these cases. Isn't this a parallel industry that will also emerge rapidly, where you have to build on top of the pure computation? And also, if you can elaborate a little bit on, where are we here? Are there players? Are you guys working on something exciting here? I would be curious just to get an update
Yes.
on that.
No, you're absolutely right. So, as any other technology in information technology that's been introduced, you need to be able to use it somehow, and ideally easily. So, when you think about quantum computers nowadays, then very often what you have to do is go down to the single bits, to the smallest units of information, the quantum bits on that chip, and manually address them. That is, of course, very complicated. Not everyone is able to do that. Not everyone wants to do that. So, in the end, what I have to do to make this technology accessible to those that are not engineers, to those that are not quantum physicists, which is a much bigger group, those people that are working on the problems, have the understanding of medicine, have the understanding of logistics. So, people really solving these problems using the technology, I have to have easy access to that technology. And many companies, including ours, are working on that. So, our own platform in that way is called TQ42, which has just been released to the first customers. So that is very exciting. So here we facilitate access to quantum computing in a way that you can access readily defined and developed apps. You can graphically interact with these systems and are guided basically through a flow for solving whatever problem you have. But absolutely right. Yeah, if we had a technology that has the potential to solve problems, but then it's very, very hard to use, then it is of no good. So we really want to have many, many people use that technology, and many, many people solve various kinds of problems that we don't even think about, even we manufacture that platforms in these systems.
Yeah, if you look at it today, I mean, the approach to kids, young kids starting to prompt in an AI environment to basically state what they want to build. So you don't have to be a quantum physicist. You don't have to be a software developer. You will have systems that will generate code, and systems will build up on top of systems. So you will have, and if you're good at describing what you want to do, you can basically outsource or detach the computing power to a larger quantum computer or a hybrid solution, and you will have your front end, your phone, or whatever it will be, and use your words basically just to address problems and try to describe them more precise. Is that how it will evolve?
Yes, I think that is very much how it will evolve. So you see the developments in artificial intelligence, machine learning specifically, where they led us. So they led us to systems such as the GPT platforms, where you can specify in natural language what you want to do and can get code as an output. So that is already very, very interesting. Now, thinking about AI systems that are powered by a quantum computers, that will be a different game. So large AI systems. So we're working on that already. And the idea now would be to develop systems that much more resemble the function of the human mind than these current systems that we use. And that is, so it depends on how you look at the world. That is because we think quantum effects play a role in conscious perception. Quantum effects play a role in how the brain works. So in the end, like everything in the world that is based on quantum physics, everything in the universe, if you want to simulate that, if you want to create an artificial brain, so to say, you better do it quantum mechanically, because that's where um, um, we think the remarkable power of the human brain comes from. And then interacting with such systems will be much different than even today's most potent systems that we use. It will be much more natural. It will be more like talking to a human, more like getting human responses than we do today. And today's systems are already very good. I'd also have a question for you. So that is something that I'd be interested in your viewpoint. So when we talk about machine learning, artificial intelligence, you just said it, kids already interacting with these systems. How do you think about educating kids already with the concepts of quantum physics? So I'm asking that because quantum technologies are now becoming so prominent. They're becoming so important. So there is no way around it. Almost anything that we do in the future, that we rely upon, is in some degree related to quantum physics. However, when we start learning about quantum physics, then we're usually 18, 19, 20. So we go to university, and then they tell you, oh yeah, the world actually on a small scale is very much different than what we perceive.
Right.
And then you're taken aback because you're 18, 19, you have a formed opinion. So it's very hard to grasp. But if we maybe start with concepts or games at an early age, I think that would help. What do you think?
I'm happy that you start asking me questions, those, because I want to learn from you. But this is, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I just came of a session listening to one of my inspiring, I wouldn't say mentors because I only met him a couple of times, but a person that be very inspiring to me, and the Emperor's New Mind and all his work,
Yeah.
Hiroshi Penrose. So he was speaking earlier about the consciousness and how it's related. But one topic that came up was basically the visualization that he did at early stage, where he started to take the math and build like spiders and visual symbols. And his colleague, I think Bob Göcke, his name, I don't know, I remember his name. We can look it up, and maybe we can post that in the comment section afterwards. So he has written a book about quantum physics for dummies, and they are doing exactly that. They are teaching kids or young people the concepts of quantum mechanics or quantum physics, and taking that to a training at an early stage without understanding the underlying math. And I had another interesting conversation earlier this week. I was in London, and I met with a woman, Dana Sora, that has written about quantum management, and she studied quantum physics at MIT, and she was not so interested in the math. She started to tangle with or play with quantum physics at an age of 15, and then she found out that what really interested her was the philosophy. So if you look at the history, and this, I mean, the greatest physicists, they were not only great philosophers, but they were also very inspired by Buddhism and Eastern philosophy in their work. So you had Schrödinger, you had Heisenberg, and I think even Niels Bohr was had an inspiration from Buddhism. So basically, what does that tell us? It tells us that the realm of how we learn is the most essential way how to navigate our future. So in comparison, we have learned the math, we have studied the math, we have been taught what to think, and we have detached or attached ourselves to one quantum mechanical model, and then we go out into the world and postulate that. I think even John von Neumann was it who just like 3 years or 2 years after postulating his truth went back and said this is all wrong. And I think this is the mindset that we have to teach kid. On the one hand, give them an entrance course, or again give an entrance to the way of thinking quantum mechanically about the world, and the other just opening their minds to the potentialities that we have, so that we learn about entanglements and superposition and get that visualized without having to dig into the math and the underlying science. So yeah, I think this is crucial, and I think it could be done in a very playful way. I think it would be one of the most important things today to apply to our schools, because the kids today will have a very different future than we have, and they will shape our future when it comes to health, when it comes to societal challenges, in a much broader way, I believe, than we can imagine today once they have access to these computing powers. So yeah, I think that's a very important topic that you touch upon, and it's something that also I think a lot about, and I want to also implement in our institute, that we look at playfulness and education in our Center for Quantum Humans. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Agreed.
But
Yeah.
if you look at various other industries, we touched upon health, we talked about optimization, we talked about traffic, we talked about I think also talked about supply chain or logistics. Are there other use cases that people can relate to that are a part of our everyday life that we think in the near future with some kind of hybrid solution will change or have high economical impacts or prosperous business models?
Yeah, there are many. But there is one use case that is indirect, or one scenario that is indirectly related to quantum computing that I would want to bring up, and that is security. So it's a very important topic. We all use the internet every day. We use devices for communication that communicate with other devices, devices that hold our most personal data, that store data. We store data in cloud systems. So, and that is one of the challenges with quantum computing, because unfortunately, technology can not only be used for the good, can also be used for the bad, like any technology. And one thing that quantum computers turn out to be very good at is solve certain kinds of problems that are inherent to the encryption algorithms that we use today. So for encrypting communication, so for data in motion, and also data at rest that we store somewhere. So, and that is something that we need to address. That is something we need to address using quantum technology for one, and algorithms that can withstand attacks of a potentially strong enough quantum computer. So for data in motion, the idea now would be, very roughly speaking, we have to use quantum physics, so photons, for example, in a fiber optics network, to encode information and to securely transmit data. And that's the only way, as we currently understand and can be 100% certain, that cannot be cracked or attacked by quantum computers or any other technology. So it's really the most secure way of encoding information and using encryption. And that is something that concerns all of us. And I'm always a little scared, and I don't want to be too dark here, but I'm always a little scared when people say, oh yeah, we think about it once the first attack happens. But then think about what needs to be done. The whole communication infrastructure, not only of corporate networks, the whole internet must be quantum secure. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. So as long as I have one weak link, so to say, that I use to transmit data, then anything else that I do, that I do to implement higher security levels and standards, doesn't make any sense. So really, it's everything that we have to think about.
So basically what you're saying is that any cryptography that we have today is insecure as soon as we have a stable quantum computer, right?
Potentially insecure, yeah. So there are algorithms that are supported by mathematical proof, where people say, well, right now I know this algorithm can withstand an attack of a quantum computer, but we had that in the past. Then someone finds a quantum algorithm that shows, oh, actually it is not secure at all. So, and the only way we can make sure communication is secure is by combining the best algorithms knowledge that we have, post-quantum cryptography, and using quantum technology such as fiber optics channels and code information into quantum states to transmit that. So that is the only way of making it really as secure as we currently understand we can do.
So that's a challenge. I mean, if you just store data today and hack data and get data, you could then potentially use a quantum computer later on when it's there to just unscramble it. So if there are any questions, I mean, feel free to ask some questions on technical side. Florian is happy to answer things around the economy. I'm happy to take those. But before we come to the end, if you look at a short term, if you would say that like some predictions for 2024 even, so that what are the focus areas, what are things that could be have a huge impact, something to invest in, things that you foresee breakthroughs in, if you look at it in like a very near future, like next year, are there some topics, more topics that you would highlight?
So definitely, I would say everything that concerns machine learning and artificial intelligence. So here, the empowering by quantum computers will be tremendous already over the next 1 to 3 years. The interesting thing with quantum computers is, compared to these classical computers that we use, they don't follow this exponential law. So where you know Moore's law, everyone has heard of this, where you basically double the computational power every 2 years. So the number of features on a silicon chip doubles approximately every 2 years, and you have this exponential curve that increases compute power. Now, that is already very hard to imagine for humans. With quantum computers, we follow potentially a doubly exponential law, so which makes it even harder to predict. And quantum computers are used to make quantum computers better. So if we can improve material science, we'll find better materials for quantum computers and make those better. So very hard to predict when this technology is empowering what scenarios and what use cases, such that they really have the potential to change the world. But I would opt for sooner than later. So therefore, quantum computing and machine learning and AI, this combination, then quantum computing and medicine, so pharmacology, so simulation of drugs, molecules, but also treatments that I mentioned before, where we combine lasers, for example, with quantum algorithms. So these are all areas that I would look into. Quantum computing and finance. So what is also the focus of the quantum, or one of the focus areas of the quantum economy institute. So where we really think about how quantum algorithms can help us to not only improve trading algorithms, but really analyze much more complex scenarios in short time than we can do right now, and then make educated guesses, not guesses, decisions based on what we analyze. So all of these areas, I would say, have the big potential sooner than later to be really tremendously changed by using quantum computing.
So what are who are the companies that are driving this? Do you think from a business standpoint? I mean, I am a bit blind looking towards Theta Quantum, of course, and I see what you guys are working on. But what are other companies where you're excited about how they take it from a business standpoint? I mean, not from building a quantum computer as such, but where
Yeah.
you see a huge business implication.
Yeah, I would say all these companies that start using or have started using quantum technologies already. So because that is, I think, not only because I work at a quantum technology company, but that is the right way to tackle new technologies. Start looking into it and do things. So even if for a certain use case, a technology such as maybe a quantum chip is not mature enough today, it may be tomorrow. So it may come earlier than we expect based on what I said before, this really doubly exponential law where we follow improvement of quantum computers. So this is what excites me most. So any of these companies that look into it, and we see many banks, many finance institutions, manufacturing. So I can talk about one that I worked before, which is Volkswagen Group. They have been very advanced in quantum computing, started early on in 2015. We did the first use case in quantum computing, and didn't change the world, but we could show it's useful. So, and that is something that excites me most. Really, everyone who is starting to try and to learn and to do things today already because the technology is there.
Yeah, technology is there. Quantum is now, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's the slogan that you follow. No, thank you, Florian, for giving a little bit more insight in this field. So, Florian was also leading the center to look at the products and services of tomorrow at the Quantum Economy Institute, and there will be a lot of exciting publications and research done in that field over the months and years to come. I'm also very excited about the progress and also the dynamism of the field and dynamics of things, and how now also investments are being made into the field. And I think one of the things that we have to emphasize also is that, with this power that will emerge, we also have a great job to do to educate leaders, and also to build companies that serve into a positive net progress for humanity. And I think that this is something that comes at a double exponential power also, that you could misuse, and you could build economic models that can be very profitable and to harm society. So I think also we will need to emphasize the mensch, the human being. And the next quantum economy talk will be about just that. We will talk about what we call the infinite leader, where we look at leadership in the 21st century and we reimagine leadership, and look at also how organizational structures will be in the quantum economy. This session will be in 2 weeks from now on Thursday. We had it on a Wednesday today because of some logistics and travels and events. So we are back to our bi-weekly quantum economy talk in 2 weeks on Thursday, the 23rd. Look forward to seeing you then. And again, Florian, thank you for joining in from San Francisco. I wish you a wonderful day. And we will post a link to those sources and the person that I mentioned in the comment section, so they have that correctly. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again at the next Quantum Economy Talk.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining.